Hello again everyone, this is Dulu at Dulu's Reactions, and before I get to say it, please do like, share and subscribe. Oh, sorry, frog in my throat. And do make a contribution if you can in a local currency, whatever you can afford, to the coffee link down below. So I hope everyone is well, hope everyone is safe wherever you are in the world. We're going to do a reaction today to the conflict in Kashmir explained. It's a very complicated issue. It's been simmering since 1947 between India and Pakistan. So yeah, we'll have a look at that and see what we think. I haven't actually watched this video at all, as most of the videos I do I haven't actually watched them before. So it's my honest reactions and my first reactions to it. But we can learn together and we'll get started. Right, that's the video. Right, I'm going to press play now. So it's the conflict in Kashmir explained.
February 14th, 2019, a suicide bomber attacked a convoy of Indian security forces.
We're getting reports of multiple casualties in a
He killed at least 40 Indian soldiers here in Kashmir.
Just hold on, I just realised I need to turn my I'm just going to pause it for a second, guys. I need to turn the brightness of the screen up. Give me 2 seconds. I'll be back in a sec. Right, I'm back. I've turned the brightness up a bit. I'm not sure if it was affecting you guys, but it looked a bit dark on my screen, so I've just turned it up.
The deadliest attack the region
Back again.
casualties. We're getting reports of multiple casualties in a
He killed at least 40 Indian soldiers here in Kashmir.
Oh, this
deadliest attack the region has seen this century.
The bomber was part of an Islamic militant group based in Pakistan.
Jaish-e-Mohammed claimed responsibility for that attack.
12 days later, India carried out airstrikes in northwestern Pakistan. Then Pakistan shot down at least one Indian aircraft around here. Tensions rose between the two rival nations.
Can escalate.
To escalate.
Serious escalation in years.
Kashmir is one of the most disputed places on Earth. Over the course of 70 years, it's been at the center of 3 wars, fought between 2 massive armies. It's heavily occupied by more than 500,000 Indian troops and a deadly collection of militias and terrorist groups. Kashmir is the stage for the relentless conflict between India and Pakistan. But focusing on these 2 countries can obscure what's really at stake: the voice of Kashmiris who are caught in a vicious cycle of violence.
Whenever there is any conflict between India and Pakistan, Kashmir is always the battleground.
Kashmir is a disputed area. It neither belongs to India nor belongs to Pakistan.
2 giants of nuclear giants, we are nothing in between them.
There is always uncertainty. You never know what is going to happen.
It can be a hartal, it can be a strike, anybody can be killed anytime.
We are the pawns in their hands.
It's a mess. It is a mess, and we have been affected in every possible direct and indirect way.
I have been born in this conflict, and I have to die within this conflict.
Kashmir is one of the most strategic places in the world, where 3 powerful countries collide: India, Pakistan, and China.
It must be said about the situation in Kashmir, we're all very sorry, we feel very sad about what's going on, or has been going on. But I have to admit, the leadership in Kashmir hasn't exactly been stellar. They really have not led their people well, and have always looked after themselves more than their people. So there is something to be said for that as well, sadly.
China invaded and took this slice of Kashmir from India, and was given this one by Pakistan. India and Pakistan control these parts, but lay claim to more. This region is at the center of a brutal conflict over these disputed borders, so it's important to start when the borders were being drawn. In the mid-1800s, India was a patchwork of several hundred provinces and princely states under British rule. A century later, when British India won independence, the British left and hastily decided to split the region into 2. These areas would be a new Muslim-majority country, Pakistan, and this would be the mostly Hindu but secular India. The partition was bloody.
Communal hatred flares up in the Punjab.
1 million people become refugees overnight. They flee from savagery and butchery that has never been exceeded, even in India's stormy history.
Amid the chaos, some princely states were given the choice to join either country. In most cases, the ruling monarchs followed the will of their people. But this state, called Jammu and Kashmir, was different. It was right along this new border and had a Muslim-majority population, but was ruled by a Hindu monarch. When asked to pick a side, the ruler chose to stay neutral. Fearing that the monarch would join India, the Kashmiri population rebelled here in 1947. Armed tribesmen from Pakistan soon joined the fight. The monarch turned to India for military help and in exchange agreed to join them, which sparked the First Indo-Pakistan War in Kashmir.
Continuing thus increased the threat to world peace and brought the dispute to the attention of the United Nations.
The UN Security Council brokered a ceasefire in 1949, which established this line.
This is the aircraft carrier shelter you seized.
I'll pause it. Sorry guys, the adverts intervened again rather rudely, so we'll just continue.
Which established this line, with Pakistan controlling this side. The UN Security Council brokered a ceasefire in 1949, which established this line, with Pakistan controlling this side and India this one. It also asked Pakistani tribesmen to withdraw and Indian troops to follow so that Kashmir could hold a direct vote to decide its own future. But neither held up their end of the deal. Pakistan argued that Kashmir's Muslim-majority population rightfully belonged with them, while India insisted that Kashmir was handed over to them by the Hindu monarch, so they doubled down and added Kashmir to their constitution. The vote was never held.
I think every person in Kashmir has been affected by India and Pakistan.
The Kashmir is completely destroyed by India as well as by Pakistan.
This is a territorial dispute, they call it. They don't need people.
The main stakeholders are the Kashmiris. Their opinions are not being heard.
Both countries continued to tighten their grip around it for decades.
Kashmir, fighting is going on, and heavy casualties in men and equipment have been inflicted on the aggressor.
In 1965, the Second Indo-Pakistan War broke out in Kashmir. Thousands of people were killed between the huge armies on both sides. A ceasefire ended the war, but didn't change this line. Kashmir was kept divided and occupied. And another war broke out in 1971. This time the focus wasn't in Kashmir, it was in East Pakistan. Here, India helped rebels fight for independence and dealt Pakistan a devastating defeat. This region became a new country, Bangladesh, and Pakistan lost its eastern half.
Bangladesh is where I was born, incidentally, where my family is actually from. Yeah, so I know a bit about that aspect of it. Yeah.
This made Kashmir more important than ever. It became one of the most militarized places on Earth as India and Pakistan deployed planes, tanks, artillery, and soldiers along the line of control. On the political front, in '87, India reportedly rigged an election, declaring a pro-India party as the winner. Now, this was a big turning point for many Kashmiris, who felt they were again denied the chance to vote. Thousands took to the streets in Indian-controlled Kashmir to protest the occupation. But India met the movement for independence with harsh resistance, which quickly escalated to more violence.
In January, security forces opened fire on demonstrating separatists, turning a 2-year-old struggling movement into a full-blown popular uprising. More than 650 people have been killed in clashes between troops and separatists.
Kashmiri militias, like the Jammu and Kashmir Liberation Front, started recruiting Muslim youth to fight for independence, and increasingly attacked the Indian military. Pakistan saw an opportunity in this insurgency. They helped introduce a new kind of militant group, radical Islamic fighters who fought for more pro-Pakistan Kashmir. By the mid-90s, these groups dominated the insurgency. India responded with incredible military force, deploying 500,000 troops to Kashmir, and they cracked down on militants and protesters. Unarmed civilians were killed, and many were forced to flee the violence.
Hey, if you want to get across London, you do it by...
Sorry guys, got interrupted there again, so we'll just carry on. This is the strife now that's been going on, or was going on. That still does actually, unfortunately. So we'll just make sure it's recording. Yep. There we go.
Unarmed civilians were killed, and many were forced to flee the violence. And in '98, the stakes were raised yet again.
Today, India conducted 3 underground nuclear tests.
Pakistan today successfully conducted 5 nuclear tests.
Kashmir became a battleground between 2 nuclear-armed nations, and another war broke out in 1999.
More evidence of the attacks being launched on the Indian-controlled area of Kargil. The past 2 days have seen some of the fiercest fighting so far. Militant Muslim fighters have also crossed over into some parts of Indian-ruled Kashmir.
The 1999 war ended with another ceasefire, but that didn't stop either country. Over the years, Pakistan's militant groups got bolder and launched terror attacks in and outside of Kashmir. In 2001, members of Lashkar-e-Taiba bombed India's parliament building in New Delhi, killing 14 people. And in 2008, 10 militants from the same group killed 174 people and wounded 300 in Mumbai. Meanwhile, Indian military cracked down in Kashmir, firing bullets and pellets on unarmed protesters, leaving hundreds wounded and blind. This is the vicious cycle of violence. The Indian Army's crackdown drives some Kashmiris to join Pakistani-backed militant groups who carry out violence against the Indian forces. It's a cycle that Kashmiri civilians are stuck in the middle of.
Just because of this conflict, we are losing our young generations because we are getting killed.
Every second day we hear a news that 2 boys were killed, 3 boys were killed, and there is an anger, among young generation.
There are psychological effects of the conflict. Okay, everybody is facing some sort of problem in Kashmir.
Hopelessness is everywhere due to this conflict.
When you snatch pens from you,
it's desperately sad, especially when youngsters get killed or anybody gets killed. But honestly, the blame has to lie with the Kashmiri leaders as well. They have not done a good job leading their people. I'm afraid it's just same old story of corruption and and self-serving leaders, both in India and of course Pakistan, but also in Kashmir. Sometimes you have to do help yourself and do your best. And unfortunately, the Kashmiri leadership hasn't done so for decades, and that's been the problem. But it's desperately sad for the ordinary people.
you are yourself forcing them to pick up guns.
Which brings us back to 2019. The suicide bomber was 19-year-old Adil Ahmed Dar from Pulwama, Kashmir. According to his parents, in 2016, Indian police officers stopped him and humiliated him by forcing his face into the ground. The same year, he was shot in the leg at a protest. The next year, Dar left home with his brothers to join Jaish-e-Mohammed, a Pakistani-supported militia that radicalized him and trained him to be a suicide bomber. A year later, he drove explosives into an Indian military convoy. For more than 70 years, India...
So that's just desperately sad. The humiliation people suffer. I just find it. I know leaders have a very difficult role, and being a leader is not easy. It can't be easy. But sometimes you do need wise heads there, and it does make a difference as to who you have in power. And if you're going to humiliate people like this, there's going to be a reaction, and that's the problem. That's the problem. It's a never-ending cycle, but somebody has to end it. That's the thing.
India and Pakistan have driven a cycle of violence, retaliation, and exploitation in Kashmir. But beneath it all is the Kashmiris' wish to make a choice. A wish that continues to be suppressed again and again by violence.
The best way to handle the Kashmir situation is to have a dialogue and to hold a referendum. And both of the countries are not doing anything as such.
In every action, there is equal and opposite reaction. The more suppression you face, the more you rise.
I just want to get a freedom, to get a right to do everything. As a teenager, I have big dreams, but as a Kashmiri, the dreams are suppressed here.
Oh, that's the end. Okay, that. Yeah, yeah, desperately sad. I'll just move. Which way should I move? I'll move this way a bit. Yeah, that's desperately sad, and it's always horrible. People's dreams, are shattered. And it's the human story from time immemorial, really. We just hope and pray that all the 3 countries get good leadership and wise leadership, and solve the issue but it's a far more complex issue than was presented there, because obviously that's a short video, you can't say everything. But yeah, it's very sad, but hope you at least enjoyed learning about the issue, get a bit more of an idea as to what the reasons were, the historical reasons for what's going on now, and is continues to go on. So yeah, hopefully we learned something, but that's it for me for today. Thank you for watching with me. Do like, share and subscribe, and make a contribution if you can. I'll see you hopefully with a slightly more positive video next time, but bye for now all, and thank you for watching with me. Bye from Dooley's Reactions.